The Alex Stalock Joyride is alive, well, and chaotic. Welcome to From Center Ice. My name is Courtney, and yes, the Blackhawks season is indeed still going, even though it definitely didn't feel like it when they had almost a full week off between games. I need to get used to this schedule not being super condensed anymore. If you recall, the last game the Blackhawks played before last night was last Saturday's victory over the San Jose Sharks. The Blackhawks went down 2-0 in the first period, even though they started the game pretty well and were controlling play. But not to worry, the captain, Jonathan Toews, got the Blackhawks on the board in the second period after some hard work from Taylor Raddysh and Tyler Johnson to get him the puck on a breakaway chance. Forehand, backhand, classic Johnny in the net. And then just over a minute later, while the Blackhawks were killing a penalty, Sam Lafferty and Jason Dickinson were down in the offensive zone, killing off some time. Lafferty had chased down the puck, got it to Dickinson, who got it back to Sam Lafferty all alone in front of the net, where he banged it in for a short-handed goal to tie the game at 2. And then, just over 2 minutes after that, Jason Dickinson and Sam Lafferty, once again short-handed, are on a 2-on-1 rush against Logan Couture. Jason Dickinson has the puck flying down the left wing. He tries to get a shot off, but it goes behind the net. He falls, and as he is laying on his side, bangs the puck out to the front of the net, where once again Sam Lafferty had planted himself. That incredible pass from his stomach by Dickinson landed right on Lafferty's stick, where he was again able to bang it in past Kaapo Kähkönen for another short-handed goal to give the Blackhawks a 3-2 lead. Nobody saw that coming, and that is how the game went into the second intermission. And then in the third period, Petr Mrázek locked it down. Taylor Raddysh and Jason Dickinson got their first goals of the season for the Blackhawks, which gave the Hawks a 5-2 victory over the San Jose Sharks, their first win of the season, and it certainly came in very chaotic fashion. Even though Stalock wasn't in net for that game, his chaos was certainly living through his teammates. And Petr Mrázek had himself a pretty solid night, making 24 of 26 saves. That was good for a .923 save percentage and his first win as a Blackhawk, his first win of the season. And of course, we all know that the Blackhawks aren't really in winning mode. They're mostly trying to not win because they want the best draft pick possible. But with basically a full week off in between games, that did allow them to take some positive momentum into that long break, have some good practices over that time, and allow the coaching staff to have some good teaching moments there while the guys aren't in just a bad mood from going 0-3 on the road trip. So all of that brings us to last night, Friday night in Chicago, where the Blackhawks were hosting their long-time rival, the Detroit Red Wings, for their home opener. Detroit came into that game with a strong start to their season, having a 2-0-1 record. Of course, Chicago was sitting on a 1-2-0 record. Not as good just number-wise, but good for the team because, again, trying to not do the whole winning every game thing so they can draft well. But even though the Wings were off to a hot start to the season, they are now without Tyler Bertuzzi, a key player in their lineup. He is out for 4 to 6 weeks after blocking a shot with his right hand against the New Jersey Devils. That had to hurt. I can't even imagine. And that's rough for the Wings to overcome. They do have a lot of young talent there in Detroit, but Bertuzzi's kind of a guy that can just do everything for the team. So now that we've got all of that housekeeping out of the way, let's just jump into the recap of the home opener Friday night in Chicago at the United Center. And basically right from puck drop, it was clear that that new third line of Philipp, Kurashev, Jason Dickinson, and Sam Lafferty picked up right where they left off in San Jose with another strong start. Their first shift of the game led to some sustained offensive zone pressure. Acquiring Jason Dickinson in exchange for Riley Stillman seems like it was a very, very good move by Kyle Davidson right now. I know it's only been 2 games with him in the lineup, and I did actually like Riley Stillman as a player, and I think there is untapped potential there. But even so far through these 2 games, Dickinson has definitely been a better asset to this Blackhawks roster than Stillman was. So hopefully it works out as a good trade for both the Blackhawks and the Vancouver Canucks where Stillman went. Again, this is not me saying anything bad about him, but just when it comes to how the team is made up, so far through 2 games, very small sample size, Jason Dickinson appears to fit into the lineup better. And much like in San Jose, the Blackhawks had a pretty quick start to this game, and they held the Wings to without a shot on goal for the first 7 minutes of game time. At least held them without a registered shot on goal. We all know sometimes the shot counters miss a couple here and there. And also, just like in San Jose, the Chicago Blackhawks did not get the first goal of the game, because 9 minutes and 26 seconds into the first period, the Detroit Red Wings had an offensive zone faceoff at the left dot. They won said faceoff. Robert Haig took the shot from the point, and Petr Mrázek made the initial stop, but as Pius Suter, former Chicago Blackhawk, was skating to the front of the net, the puck went off of his skate after it rebounded off of Mrázek and went behind him into the net. 1-0 Detroit. And of course, it was Pius Suter. Why would it not be a former Blackhawk? And there were a few of them in this game. Along with Pius Suter, you also have Dominik Kubalík, who signed with the Red Wings in the offseason after he was not qualified by the Blackhawks. And if you go back a few years in your memory, the Detroit Red Wings also have former Blackhawks defenseman Olli Maatta. But the Blackhawks also have a former Red Wing as well in Andreas Athanasiou. It took me one too many takes to get that sentence out fluidly. Saying Red Wings so many times definitely gets you tongue-tied. And speaking of former Blackhawks, 10 minutes and 33 seconds into the first period, while the Detroit Red Wings are on a power play, former Blackhawk Dominik Kubalík passes the puck to captain Dylan Larkin, who just has all of the time in the world alone in the high slot. As much credit as I already gave Lafferty and Dickinson, I'm really not sure what they were doing on this play because nobody challenged Larkin with the puck. And if there's anybody that you should challenge while they have the puck, maybe he's the one. But they do not, and as Jack Johnson is trying to defend in front of the net, he ends up putting up a massive screen in front of his goaltender. He is a better door than a window. Mrázek cannot see through him. Dylan Larkin puts the shot on the net, and the Blackhawks are down by 2 goals once again, just like against San Jose. 2-0 Detroit. That was 2 goals on 4 shots for the Red Wings. But again, you can't blame Petr Mrázek for either of those goals that were scored. The first one was just a bad lug bounce off of a skate. And the second one, well, you typically can't see through people. So they're down 2-0, but you must play on. And there was a pretty scary moment for Detroit with about 7 minutes left in the first period. Dylan Larkin fell super awkwardly on the ice, and he went to the bench looking like he was in some excruciating pain, holding either his ribs or his side, and then he did end up going back to the dressing room. But he came back out for the second period, so I'm not sure what's going on there, but I do hope that he's okay. The Hawks did have some power play opportunities there in the first period, but they could not get set up at all. And I have to credit a lot of that to the Detroit penalty killers because they were super aggressive, and they had one guy roaming around the zone just attacking the guy with the puck. It closed down basically every passing lane, every shooting lane, and the Hawks just could not figure it out. They did get one really quality chance though. Caleb Jones had the puck at the point. He put a super nice shot pass onto the stick of Patrick Kane, but it just went wide. Had that puck gone into the net, that would have been a beautiful way to get on the board. But they did not, and these two teams went into the first intermission with Detroit leading 2-0 and leading the shots on goal 6-3. As is the case for most games and most periods so far in this early season, the Blackhawks were skating hard and putting in a lot of work, but they just could not get any pucks to the net. But that's only 20 minutes of a full hockey game, so you gotta keep going. On to the second period. Like I said before, Dylan Larkin did come back for the second period, which was really good to see. What was also really good to see was 6 minutes and 41 seconds into the second period, Andreas Athanasiou, former Detroit Red Wing, current Chicago Blackhawk, kind of stole the puck from his line mate Max Domi and just absolutely turned on the jets, sped up the middle of the ice, and used his speed to draw a penalty. But no, the Blackhawks were not going on the power play. Andreas Athanasiou got a penalty shot. Ugh. I love penalty shots. Say what you want about shootouts not being real hockey and being bad ways to decide games, but they are fun. And then with the penalty shot, you basically get one in the middle of a game. How could you not like that? What made it even better was Andreas Athanasiou kind of skated and slowly skated up the middle of the ice, faked Nedeljkovic out just a little bit to freeze him, and then fired that puck 5-hole. It went off of Ned's stick between his legs and into the net. The Blackhawks were on the board 2-1. Red Wings. That is definitely a fun way to get your first goal of the season for your new team and in front of your home fans. But 11 minutes and 18 seconds into the second period, the revenge tour was completed. Olli Maatta, former Chicago Blackhawk, took a shot from the point, and Dominik Kubalík, former Chicago Blackhawk, just standing in the middle of the ice, got a stick on it, tipping it down. It bounced off of the ice over Petr Mrázek's glove. That was another goal for the Red Wings. 3-1 Detroit. And of course, it was Dominik Kubalík. Of course it was. And of course it was assisted by Olli Maatta, because that is just what happens in hockey. These guys face their former teams and then they become all-stars. It's fine, because remember I said Andreas Athanasiou was a former wing and he got his revenge with that penalty shot. So it wasn't just one-sided, but the Wings have way more former Blackhawks than the Hawks have former Wings, so, you know, not really ideal if they're all scoring. Things start getting chippier in the second, as they typically do between these two teams. Lafferty tries to take on Ben Sherratt. The Blackhawks somehow get a power play out of all of it, and of course they don't convert on it. But Patrick Kane did get a pretty nifty scoring chance with about 4 minutes to go in the second. He had the puck, as he does, down low in the offensive zone. He didn't have an open shot because he was being defended, so he decided to do a nice little Kaner spinorama and try to put that puck on the net. Unfortunately, Alex Nedeljkovic was able to drop down to his knees and keep the puck out. Kaner almost snuck that thing 5-hole, and again, just like the missed shot pass, that would have been a beautiful goal from Patrick Kane. One of these days, he will get back on the score sheet because he is Patrick Kane, but for now, the hockey gods are really testing his patience. And there were no other goals either way in that period, so these two teams went into the second intermission with the Red Wings having a 3-1 advantage over the Blackhawks. And they still held the shots on goal advantage 18-13. The Blackhawks did create some more chances there in the second period, and of course got the penalty shot goal from Athanasiou. But aside from that and Kaner's spinorama, there were no real adjustments made to their game after the first. That was especially evident on the power play when they were still letting the Detroit pressure really get to them and not allow them to set anything up. And there was no real creativity happening, again, outside of Patrick Kane doing Patrick Kane things. But he also just looked super frustrated, which is understandable with how the game was going and how he was getting chances but not being able to put them in the net. But again, that was only 2 periods and a full hockey game, so you must go forward. On to the third period. And Petr Mrázek is not out for the Chicago Blackhawks. There is Alex Stalock in the net. Apparently, during the last TV timeout in the second period, Petr Mrázek went over to the bench, talked to the trainer, said he wasn't really feeling comfortable in net. Today, we learn he likely has a groin strain. He missed most of last season with Toronto with a groin injury, so that's not necessarily good news. He is listed day to day, and they did have to call up Arvid Soderblom from the Rockford Ice Hogs, which is rather unfortunate because they have a back-to-back series this weekend at home. So he would have been slated to play at least the home opener tonight, but it's likely we see Jackson Stauber in net instead. Soderblom will be backing up Alex Stalock in net on Sunday. But that bad news aside, the good news is that we were all aboard the Alex Stalock Joyride once again, and it did not take long for it to get moving. Pretty early in the period, the Red Wings have a scoring chance, and here you have him, Alex Stalock, just diving out with a diving poke check save to keep the puck out of the net, and he does keep the puck out of the net. And then 3 minutes and 46 seconds into the third period, Sam Lafferty is behind the net in the offensive zone. He finishes his check, turning the puck over. He's able to get the puck from Dylan Larkin and get it up to Jack Johnson at the left point. Jack Johnson doing what Jack Johnson has done for the whole start of this season, takes a shot at the net. Nedeljkovic makes the save, but Sam Lafferty comes from behind the net around to the front of the net, tries to bang away at the rebound to get it into the net, but it pops out a little bit to the side. Philipp Kurashev is able to pick it up, and he roofs it on the backhand over Nedeljkovic. 3-2. Red Wings. The Blackhawks just keep on working hard and chip away at that Detroit lead. That was a great effort and a great goal from that third line once again. Alex Stalock is forced to come up with some more big stops after that goal, and then there is a severe miscommunication at the offensive blue line between Caleb Jones and Jake McCabe, who was in his season debut after having surgery in the offseason. Caleb Jones does not get the pass to Jake McCabe. It ends up going out into the neutral zone, and I believe it was Joe Veleno who hops on the puck and gets a breakaway toward Alex Stalock, who, of course, because we are on the Joyride, comes up with a massive save on the breakaway. And then there is a second scoring chance there for the Detroit Red Wings, but once again, Alex Stalock, we are on the Joyride, my friends. Another diving poke check stop to keep the puck out of the net. He was putting in all kinds of work in the first half of the third period, and it made that game a lot more fun to watch, and I think it really inspired his teammates as well. 10 minutes and 6 seconds into the third period, the Blackhawks are killing a penalty, and Jack Johnson gets kind of a semi-breakaway chance, sort of just drives to the offensive net. Again, while killing a penalty, you have Jack Johnson driving to the net in the offensive zone, 200 feet from where he's supposed to be. Nedeljkovic makes the stop on his shot, but that gets the offensive zone faceoff, which is key. Because on said faceoff, Sam Lafferty wins it back to Connor Murphy, who blasts the puck toward the net, and it goes in! Another shorthanded goal by the Chicago Blackhawks in which Sam Lafferty contributed to it. You just can't even make this stuff up. Nobody would have written this as something that was going to happen. Connor Murphy's celebration is epic. He's excited. The United Center is now alive and excited. The Blackhawks are excited. And this is a brand new game with it tied 3-3. And since the Blackhawks have been so good shorthanded, Stalock decided in his chaotic mind that maybe they should just stay shorthanded. So he throws the puck over the glass, gets a delay of game penalty, and immediately Sam Lafferty gets a shorthanded rush, but doesn't get a goal this time. But the Blackhawks do get the puck in the offensive zone and are able to kill off some key time there. And the clock runs out in the third period with these two teams tied 3-3, and that means overtime. And now these shots on goal were also tied 27-27. Alex Stalock's brand of chaos was apparently exactly what this Blackhawks team needed coming into the third period to come back from being down by 2 goals, get another shorthanded goal, and take this thing to overtime. But we're not really trying to get points here in this season, so when these games go to overtime, the Blackhawks kind of just have to win. Because at least if you win, then there's some excitement for the fans, and it's good for the team morale. There's some good coaching points for the coaching staff to go over how the team fought back, and if they were able to get the win, how all of that happened. But if they lose, they walk away from this game, which, yes, had its exciting moments because they were able to tie it up, again, with a shorthanded goal. But then you still get a point in the standings, which you do not need, and you do not have the good feelies from winning in overtime. So in a season when wins and losses don't really matter, we cannot go to overtime just for funsies. You either lose in regulation or you win in overtime. Because if you lose in overtime, you're just stuck in the middle and then nobody is happy. And as was fitting for this game, the starting lineup in overtime for the Chicago Blackhawks was Sam Lafferty, Jason Dickinson, and Jack Johnson. All 3 of those guys were flying all game, so it just made sense for Luke Richardson to throw them out there, acknowledge that they played really well. Unfortunately, they couldn't get it done by scoring the overtime goal. And we did, again, get some Alex Stalock chaos in overtime, although it was just minor chaos this time, because Caleb Jones, as he was gonna go off for a line change, decided to pass the puck back to Alex Stalock. You know, get your goaltender in on the play. He's a very good puck handler, so it makes sense, but you don't always see guys do that. It happens every once in a while, but anytime you throw a puck at your own net, it's a risk. You just never know. But it worked out this time. Stalock got the puck, was able to give the breakout pass. And then you have Patrick Kane and Max Domi hop on to the ice. And as Lucas Raymond, who is a very promising young player for the Detroit Red Wings, was breaking the puck out of his defensive zone and skating in the neutral zone, here comes Max Domi, who just absolutely strips him of the puck and goes the other way. You have Kane calling for it behind him, being like, buddy, I'm open, give me the puck, it's overtime, I'm gonna score. Well, Max Domi just goes, this is my puck. He races into the offensive zone, rips a wrister at the net, and it beats Alex Nedeljkovic, and the Blackhawks win in overtime. Oh my goodness. What? The Blackhawks won that game. They were down 3-1 going into the third period. They tied that game on another shorthanded goal. Alex Stalock didn't allow a single goal in overtime or the third period. And Max Domi, in maybe his best game as a Blackhawk so far, really making himself known out there on the ice and being very good at the faceoff dot, gets the puck in overtime, takes a nasty shot toward the net. It goes in. The Blackhawks win. The United Center erupts. And Patrick Kane is smiling! It is always good news for the Chicago Blackhawks and Blackhawks fans when Patrick Kane is smiling. Keep him as happy as you can because we need him to stay instead of getting traded. I don't care what we could get for him. It just wouldn't be right to have a Blackhawks team without Patrick Kane. Anyway, this is a happy ending to this video. They win. Max Domi is the first star of the game, and as he's doing his first star interview, Colby Cohen asks him about looking off Patrick Kane, not passing it to him. And Max Domi has an awesome quote. He said, if you're gonna look off Patrick Kane, you better not miss. And he, my friends, did not miss. The Blackhawks took this game against the Red Wings. There is no quit in this team. They battled back hard, and the goals they gave up, you can't blame them on Mrázek. They were all just crazy bounces. Just when it seemed like the Hawks were down and out, they hopped on the Alex Stalock Joyride and rode it to victory. Wins may not be good for the tank, but they're good for the team morale, they're good for the players, they're good for offering teaching moments for the coaching staff, and they are fun for the fans to watch. There will be plenty of losses this season, so just savor these fun ones while we have them. And in a season where we might have a lot of losses, the Blackhawks are making it fun. And that is what sports should be. They should be fun. And this one was fun. But now we have to put it behind us because the Blackhawks are back in action Sunday afternoon against the Seattle Kraken. The Kraken are coming into that game with a record of 2-2-2. Twos are wild because the Blackhawks have a record of 2-2. And while Seattle hasn't had the best start to the season, they did beat the Colorado Avalanche on Friday night. So they're not just a team to take lightly. Their goaltenders are Philipp and Martin Jones. Martin Jones having the better start to the season of the two of them. He's got a record of 2-1-0 and an .875 save percentage. Philipp Grubauer has a record of 0-1-1 and an .860 save percentage. As for their leading scorers, at number 1, they've got Jaden Schwartz. Blackhawks know him very well from his time with the St. Louis Blues. So far this season, he has 3 goals and 2 assists. Up next is Stanley Cup champion Andrei Burakovsky, 2 goals and 3 assists. Third is Jared McCann with 2 goals and 2 assists. Fourth was off-season acquisition Oliver Bjorkstrand with 1 goal and 3 assists. And then you have the rookie Matty Beniers with 1 goal and 3 assists. As for the Blackhawks, their leading scorer is Sam Lafferty. He has 2 goals and 3 assists on the season. Philipp Kurashev is number 2 with 1 goal and 2 assists. Jason Dickinson is third with 1 goal and 2 assists. Tyler Johnson comes in 4th with 3 assists. And rounding out the top 5 is your captain, Jonathan Toews, with 2 goals. As for the goaltenders, we will not be seeing Petr Mrázek on Sunday, but he has a record of 1-1. He has an .873 save percentage. And Alex Stalock also has a record of 1-1 with a .979 save percentage. I don't know how long that's gonna keep up, but I am here for it. Anyway, that's going to be it from me in this video. If you would like to hear more from me or from Center Ice, you can head on over to FromCenterIce.com where you can find links to all of the places where you can find us. There's also a link to our brand new merch store, FromCenterIce.shop. All of those links are also down in the description to make it easy for you, as well as the links to our social media pages. Those are down in the description if you'd like to give us a follow there. And while you're here, subscribe to this channel if you aren't yet, and give this video a like. That would make me so very happy. All of that being said, thank you all so very much for tuning in. I appreciate each and every one of you. And if you haven't yet, make sure you get your ticket to the Alex Stalock Joyride. I will catch y'all in the next video. Bye guys.